G'day, folks. What a year it's been. It's almost Christmas, and Kathy, Troy, and Craig are preparing for the final podcast of the year. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and other platforms. We've loved talking to our guests, having a laugh, the events, the results, as well as discussing some hot topics from Australian poker and speaking out with them too. We love the feedback, the comments, and so many of you that have subscribed to our channel. Have a very Merry Christmas all, and Happy New Year.
G'day everyone, welcome to the Poker Pulse podcast. We've got a huge episode for you today. This will be the final episode of 2025. It's been an awesome year. As you can see, I'm joined by my fabulous co-hosts once again, Catherine Young and Troy McLean. How are you guys? Good?
Good.
And we have a very special guest down the bottom right of our screen. You can see him, Liam Jehu. He's had a fantastic year. So coming up on the show, we're obviously going to chat to Liam. I've actually recorded a perfect pairs segment with one of Liam's good mates and a friend of the show. He's a commentator, Brayden Jinks. He's going to do a perfect pairs segment with us, so that'll be some fun. We're going to talk about the Australian Poker Schedules 2025 Fans Choice Awards, which is all over social media at the moment, and Liam's obviously been nominated there for Young Player of the Year. So we wish him all the best with that. I'm sure he'll get a lot of votes. We're going to talk about a few discussion points that I've seen recently. GTOish, that's a YouTube channel that started by a Sydney guy called Zac Gay. There's an interesting hand there. The Star have obviously announced their shot clock series recently too, which is a series. Every event is on the shot clocks. So we'll see what we think there, positives and negatives. I also want to thank all of our subscribers. We're almost at 500 subscribers now, which is huge. So we really appreciate if you can like the video, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. The comments are great too. Positive, negative feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. We try and improve and everything. So that's all great. I wanted to shout out to Project Sunrun, Dylan Wayne and Travis Endersby. They've been repping their Project Sunrun gear lately, and Travis actually won an event the other day at Crown, so he had his Project Sunrun hoodie on, so that was cool to see. It's not just the Poker Pulse hoodies, they have a lot of stuff, so check them out on Instagram. And also the Aussies over at the Asian Poker Tour, they absolutely crushed it. I think they had 13 wins over there between them. Felicia Wong got her first trophy. It was an APT Lion Trophy. Liam knows all about Lion Trophy. I believe he's got one.
Yeah, it's the one, yeah.
Amanda Wong, she picked up a couple of events, and Jared Godina absolutely crushed it. Had 4 wins in the mixed games over there. So there's an article on that on the Australian Poker Schedule, which I'll also just mention. That's a website that I run. It's got all the series on it. We've actually got 32 series on it. Plus, we just had APT drop 2 save the dates as well. So that's 34. So 2026 is going to be huge. 34 events in the books already. Check out the Australian Poker Schedule. It's the only website where you can see all your series, plan it out. Players love it. Dealers love it. They can plan out where they're going to be working. Amanda's been going through that. My wife, she deals at a few of them. And coming up at the end of the year, I always do a report on the poker series total prize pools and Hendon Mob and who's been the biggest movers in that. So look out for that in the coming weeks as well. All righty, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to start off with your recent wins, and then we can talk about you and poker in general. Tell us about all your adventures that you've been having lately. I've been seeing you've been going to Vegas, you went to the Bahamas. How has your year been?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, guys. I feel like it's been a long time coming. Always, me and Craig are always talking about stuff in poker, so it's good to actually get on. I've had like such a weird year, to be honest. Like, had the biggest upswing in my life for the first 7 months of the year, and now I've had biggest downswing of my life for the last like 4 to 5 months. So it's been what us poker players would call a polarizing year, I guess. It's been very good and then very bad in certain parts. So overall, still up, a pretty decent amount, almost a career high amount. But without giving too much away, I can definitely say I was definitely up more than double what I was now before August. So pretty much ever since APL Millions, it's been a bit downhill, but it's just what happens with poker. So I've been lucky enough to do a lot of traveling this year. I've been to, went to Taipei, I went to Vegas twice, I went to the Bahamas, and then obviously I've traveled heaps around the Aussie circuit. Everyone's sick of seeing me in their own backyard, I'm sure. So keen to do a little bit, maybe less travel this year, but I say that every year, and then I'm always away like 8 months of the year anyway. So just honestly, I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break before January. But it's been a good year overall. Can't complain. Career best year for me. So
that was at the Crown, right? Your massive score in the Crown earlier this year. Is that the career high you're talking about?
First place in the Vic Champs, I believe.
Yeah, it was it was like my career high by quite a solid way. And got heads up against Josh McSweeney, who's a good mate of mine. So it was a pretty special experience, especially being in my home ground. I had about 25, 30 friends there railing me. So it was a pretty surreal experience. And
Josh has been on the podcast.
Yeah, Josh is. I was actually just with him like in Vegas recently. He was chatting to me about a few things. Poker. He's always got stuff to talk about in regards to what he calls the incompetency of Australian poker. So it was a pretty special tournament for me, that one. The fact that it was in Melbourne just made it probably, I want to say 10 times better, but it probably genuinely made it at least twice as good. The fact that I had every single one of my close mates and family were there was awesome.
How did you get into poker? Like, how did it all start?
It was like a bit of a weird one. Like, I'm pretty young still, so I'm only 23, and most people think I'm like 30 because they feel like I've been around forever, which is like pretty accurate. Like I've been playing like full time since August 2021, so I was 19 at the time.
Wow.
I sort of started getting into it when I was maybe like 16, 17 with schoolmates. I had quite a bit of family that played poker as well, so I was exposed from a super young age in that regard. But I like started playing sort of properly when I was 16, 17 in my mate's pool table in his garage. There was a couple guys there that I'll shout out, I guess. I don't think they'll see this, but just in case, like Tommy Lee and Nathan Piscopo and Anthony Russo as well was one of those guys too, and he's sort of made the jump into playing properly and full time now as well. But these are a few of the guys that I was sort of playing 10 cent, 20 cent on a pool table in a garage with, like in 2019 to 2020. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm pretty decent at this game. And I started just trying to get myself better a lot. And then all of a sudden I started making a little bit of money. And then all of a sudden I basically quit I was basically doing basketball full time at the time. So basically gave that up in order to pursue poker full time. And it's been what I would say is a good decision. Like, I've really enjoyed all the flexibility that poker's given me. And also, although the lifestyle can be up and down at times, I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. So that's been like a little snapshot of how I got into it. And then since August 2021, it was a lot of cash games for the first year and a half. And then I played my first ever Delt tournament at APL PT Melbourne, and I won the 450 mini high roller for like 14k or something. And then all of a sudden,
that was your first tourney and you won it.
That was my first dealer Delt tourney. And then all of a sudden,
wow.
I was hooked ever since then, and then now I'm just a stain on the circuit.
Yeah, Liam's one of the. So I'm not sure exactly how many players have done this, but it's got to be a small minority, and that's the first result on Hendon Mob is a first place. So Liam's in that club.
I've got that result as well.
Yeah, okay.
Game tournament.
Not for everyone. It's not for everyone, Beginner's luck. It's not for everyone.
Yeah. Shireen Bajaram, of course, he has it too, and his is 1.6 million. So first result on Hendon Mob, eight Aussie Millions main event. So, yep, you're in that club, but obviously too, like you mentioned, you started out playing with some mates, and you realised that you could play this game, you had some skills, and you wanted to work on it. You started to make some money. I get a lot of players sort of see this too. They see all the glamorous too. Like, you can watch Daniel Negreanu, obviously one of the best in the world, and obviously rich and famous, and It looks all glamorous, and that's obviously, you know, where you're sort of trying to get to. But it is something that takes a lot of time and effort to really get good at, because eventually, you know, variance sort of comes into it. And when you want to be on the good side of variance, and you also want to have that skill that, you know, you're capable of winning and taking advantage of, you know, when you get luck as well. So being able to round out and win those actual tournaments like you did at the Vic Champs. What about the downswings and the upswings? How do you handle that in terms of mentally? Like, you obviously said you got a lot of friends around you. It's obviously quite stressful.
Yeah, like absolutely. I guess it's not necessarily the same as like, you know, a normal work life with a lot of people. Like, you know, my mum, for example, she's got a really high stress job, but you know, at the end of the day, the paycheck still comes in, right? So there's like that sort of unique thing about, you know, poker as an industry is, for most people, it's not going to be guaranteed. You know, obviously a lot of poker players have side hustles and things they do to supplement their income, and I'm also one of those people. But you know, at the end of the day, my results are still going to be, you know, at least sort of 70 to 80% of my net income on the year. So there's a lot of things, just obviously keeping a really good circle of people around you, a good circle of people that believe in you. And it's not really an easy thing to find. Like I noticed like recency bias is such a massive thing in the poker industry. Like the amount of times that I see people struggling to sell action or something online when they haven't had a result in a while, and all of a sudden they have two big scores and they literally could sell 400% of themselves at to whatever markup they wanted. And that's the one time they don't need the people supporting them. And then when they do need the people supporting them, they forgot because they haven't had a result in like 6 months. So it's such a sick industry in that way. Like people, even though there's so many smart people, there's also a lot of people that don't actually think about things like in the way they should be thought about. So keeping that circle around you, that's, you know, fully in support of you and that believes in you, like a good family as well that believe in you too. Like I definitely didn't have 100% support from my family at the start of my career, but the good thing about it was that I was on an upswing, so I didn't really need the support. And then when I guess like when I finally started coming down a little bit, having a bit of a downswing, that was when my parents sort of started to realize that, you know, there was more to it than, you know, just gambling and being a DJ. And it's actually quite a complex sort of amount of skills needed to play full time and stuff like that. So I'm very lucky to have supportive parents in that way. My mum actually had a percentage of my action in that Vic Champs tournament. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky to have a good circle, and I'm lucky to call some of the best players in Australia some of my best friends as well. So I'm always learning off them, which is just great for me. So
speaking of friends and that, you went to Vegas this year, and you mentioned you've traveled around as well. Recently you went to the Bahamas. You know, surely you've got some cool stories to share with us, maybe just recently from the Bahamas, or you're meeting people. Like, you know, did you get to meet anyone famous over there? Did you see Dina? Because I've been watching his vlog every day.
yeah,
Actually, I saw you in a vlog. Actually,
I think I was in like 3 episodes incidentally, because I got messages on like over a week's span. I got like maybe like 8 different people that messaged me on like different days, all saying that I was in vlogs. So I think unless they were just watching them at staggered times, I think I was in a few vlogs. That's like for people. Troy, you've been to Vegas yet? You went last year, right? I think like the way that I'd compare it is like Bahamas is very similar to Vegas, but it's just so much more intimate. Like the star power and scale of Bahamas is just like, it's just like so much more intense than Vegas. Because in Vegas you see like a, you know, an like I said, you know, an A+ sort of celeb, or like, you know, poker celebrity, like, you know, every now and then. In Bahamas it's just like the room's not that big. Like the room is like a Southport Sharks room. So it's just everyone's there. Like everyone's just in that room. It's not like scattered across all the casinos. So you just like, you go into your hotel. Like the first thing that happened is when I checked into my hotel for my stuff upstairs, I went downstairs and I saw a poker player walking, and I didn't know where the poker room is. So I started to follow him. And then all of a sudden I've seen he's gone some different way. And I was like, oh, where's this poker room at? And then I literally like go to turn around, and Alex Foxton's like right next to me, and he's like walking past me. And I was like, oh, like, hey, like, any chance you could like tell me where the poker room is? And he goes, oh, like, I'm heading there now. It's like a 10-minute walk away. Let's just walk together. And that was literally the first thing that happened to me in the Bahamas. And all of a sudden I've just done like a 10-minute walk with Alex Foxton to the poker room. And he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm Alex. I'm like, yeah, like, I know who you are. Like, but thanks for telling me. So that was pretty crazy. But what was definitely a lot crazier was
is he knew you? He said, "You're Liam, aren't you?" And then
No, not quite, but he was like, at the end of the day, they're real people. But yeah, that was my first thing. But I played the 10K 8 game, and I was lucky enough to have a semi deep run in that. And I made a list of all the players that I busted. I think I sent it to you guys. I'll try and grab it up real quick just so I can read it out.
the guys, this is what in the mixed game 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
you final table it or you ran deep?
I think I came 12th or something like that. Just missed the FT. Oh, actually, no, because it's a 7-handed FT. So I was like final 2 tables or so.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It would have been like, and mixed games too. They're obviously the top of the top players that you just everyday names usually too. Let us know who were they? Who were the?
So I busted Bryn Kenney, Sean Deeb, Josh Aria, Scott Seaver twice. That I can't remember his first name. His name's Kite. Last name is from Norway. He's like top 100 player in the world.
Yes.
Albert Daho.
John Kite.
Yeah, I think so. Albert Daho came third in the 250K, and then Chad Eva, who's got like 4 bracelets as well. So that was like a pretty insane list. But when I busted Bryn Kenney, I had a mate from Melbourne who final tabled the Aussie Millions with him, and he messaged. I posted on my story that I was on a table with him. So my mates responded and gone, "Oh, like say hi to Bryn from me. We're actually like good mates. That we keep in touch. We do like business together and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, awesome!" And then Bryn, like about 2 minutes later, goes, "Oh, like Liam, you know Clint?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, that's like a good mate of mine." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And he's all of a sudden we just started chatting. I ended up busting him, and he's like, "Hey, like I really like your vibe. Like let's keep in touch. We'll grab a drink together or something, and go for dinner or something." I was like, "Oh, absolutely." So all of a sudden, I'm punching in Bryn Kenney's phone number on my phone. The next day, I ended up getting a text from him. He's like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "Oh, just having a drink in the Cass with a couple mates." And he's like, "Oh, like let's catch up. Like I'm on my friend's boat. Do you want to come for a drink?" And I was like, "Okay, like sure." So all of a sudden, I'm on this 3-story super yacht in the marina of the Bahamas at the Atlantis, and I walk up the 3rd story of the boat, and it's like Bryn Kenney and a bunch of other A-list like celebrity poker players, and we just had a couple drinks, and they were all chilling out. They were playing the 50K PLO that night. Bryn asked me, he's like, "Oh, so you play an 8 game? Like, what would you say your best game is?" And I'm like, "Oh, look, I'd probably say Hold'em and PLO, but like." I would say like my win rate's better in PLO, but I'm more studied in Hold'em. He goes, "Oh, sweet. Like, are you playing the 50K?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not playing the 50K." And he goes, "Oh, well, like you're playing now." And I was just like, "What? Like, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, like me and my mate, we're going to go halves and put you in." Or like basically they bought like 90% of my action. And I was like,
"Wow."
What? I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't have to do it." He goes, No, it's like all about the vibes." So I ended up not max out regging, but I ended up registering the 50K PLO, and it was on a table full of everyone. I ended up busting. So then there's a 30-minute break before the max late reg period. We go back to the boat, have another drink, and he goes, "How's your stack?" And I was like, "I busted." And he goes, "Oh, you busted? Oh, well, let's go again." So then I ended up max late registering the 50K again. And I ended up busting sadly. I actually got it in very good both times, which was unfortunate. But yeah, so now I'm just mates with Bryn Kenney, which was pretty sick. We got a few photos together. And when we went back to the boat the second time, there was like Phil Helmuth was there, and Ben Heath was there, and like all these guys. Just anyone who was in it. Ponnikos was there. He's got the bracelet in his hand after winning the 100K Triton Main. Like anyone when Gary Katz was there, I think it was his boat. So it was just like an awesome experience, absolutely surreal. A couple of Aussie guys were there as well. Like, I was hanging out with Matthew Wakeman and Beard and James Hopkins as well. It was just like so surreal, such a surreal experience. Even though I busted the two biggest binds of my life. Obviously, I only had a very small percentage myself, but it was still like a sick experience, and I would do it again in a heartbeat, basically. So
that's
really
amazing.
Coolest stories I've heard in a while.
It can only be cooler if you binked it or something, but still just that playing. So yeah, that was Kerry Katz's yacht. I know I watched D-Neg's vlogs, as I said, and he was talking about how he was invited to go on, and I thought, yeah, well, of course you are. You're
nice
D-Negs,
little photo there as well. Nice little photo of us on the yacht there.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Genuinely, this is the start of your upswing. Like, how can you not call this moment the beginning of the upswing from here?
Upswing in life, that one. Like, just
Yeah,
yeah.
life
Yeah, no,
upswing.
it was so fun. It was such a fun experience, and like the contact and
Yeah.
being able to call Bryn a mate as he calls me is like pretty sick now. You know what I mean? It's like something that you can't really like put a price on. Having your
No,
foot
of
in the
course.
door with these kind of people that are so, well known and well respected in the industry on an international scale versus just an Australian scale, for example. It's pretty unbelievable, to be honest. So
Maybe we should get Bryn's Hendon Bob up, just for anyone that's not sure of who he is.
Yeah,
He's the
yeah.
number one.
If you just go on the website, he's just the number one.
I think it was
person named.
79 million US just in tournament, and God knows what else. Obviously plays online and everything as well. He's just absolute crusher. Obviously, comes down to the Aussie millions and everything when that was big. Hopefully, we get to see him back down here again. But I had another question just about that quickly. It's the biggest buy-in of your life, and a lot of people that watch this podcast too would, often have a similar experience in the sense that they start a lot in. So you imagine someone who plays the APL whole 9 yards or whatever for $150 and then steps up to win the whole 9 yards package, which is like 11,000 with the buy-ins, 2.5K Centurions, etc. Like, were you actually feeling that? Like, was it nerve-wracking for you? Like, stressful? Like, because even though you only had 10%, like they put you in, it's not, you're not risking 50K. Like, what was that feeling like? The atmosphere, like the adrenaline, I guess.
Look, to be honest, like I probably had about 2 or 3 drinks before the event, so I was probably in my flow state, like of perfect ability, where I wasn't intoxicated, but I wasn't nervous either. So I was just really locked into making the right decisions. So I actually felt quite good. I can imagine if I hadn't had the 2 beers before, I'd probably be a little nervous, even though like I always try and speak to myself. Like when I first played my first ever 10K and my first 20K and 25K, I remember like I would only have a small piece of myself, and I would always try and tell myself, like, you just got to remember, like, you've only got 20% of this 10K buy-in. Like, it's a 2K. It's just another 2.5K. It's just another Centurion. It's just another Goliath. But it's not always like, I'm sure Troy, you could probably like relate to this. It's just not. It doesn't feel the same. Like when you're playing that 10K main event in Vegas, even if you've sold a certain amount of yourself, you still there's a massive part of you that's going like, shit. This is the 10K main event in Vegas. This is everything I've ever wanted to do in my poker career, and now I'm just here. Especially like when we're both like getting into the money, and all of a sudden we're on day 4, and all of a sudden we're about to bag for day 5, and it's like, holy shit, like this is really actually happening. So you just like try and tell yourself that, even though your body won't listen sometimes, and just do what you can. At the end of the day, we're at me and Brayden Jinks always say this: we're at the mercy of 50 playing cards at the end of the day. So you just gotta do whatever you can to win the best hand, but sometimes the best hand is always chosen before the start of the hand. It's just about who realizes that spot. You know what I mean? So yeah, just that's all I can say about it really. But yeah, it's not for everyone. Like it's pretty disgusting when you think about it. When I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, this is a 80,000 Australian dollar buy-in, and then first it's like first is like $2.5 million Australian or whatever, and there's only like 45 people left. It's like, wow. Doesn't feel like I was that close to that much money, but then when you realize the stakes, everything in that part of the world is just so much bigger, and it's just like you compare it to Australia, and it's like, wow, like the fact that the main event there was like 26K, for example, US, and there's just 3,000 runners. It's like, where are they coming from? How does that happen? That's like an APL Millions size field, but 40 times the buy-in or 25 times the buy-in. It's just like absurd. So you just gotta do what you can at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna
And
get
I mean,
lucky.
the field is so much different too. Like you're looking at like the most star-studded table as well. Like it's not like you're playing in an Aussie event either with like Tom, Dick, and Harry. Like you're literally up against like some of the best in the world as well. I don't know how you can like distract your brain from like, realizing who you're up against and the people you're busting, and it would be crazy.
I think at the end of the day, each professional poker player, they're still a normal person as well. So even though like they might be a little bit more studied than you can still battle. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And just like feeling like you belong. Like at the end of the day, if you're a professional poker player, it's like you should probably realistically only be trying to play tournaments that you think you're winning in at least, or at a minimum break even, right? If you're shot taking like a high stakes tournament, like I would say in that PLO tournament. Like even though I back myself as a PLO player, you know, I'd probably be like breaking even, maybe like winning, maybe like up to 5% maximum. Like obviously there was a lot of really good PLO players in that field, but there was also quite a few recreationals too, which balances it out. But like I'm not delusional in knowing that the best like PLO players in that tournament are definitely much better than me. But you know, obviously having those recreationals and the guy that won who was also just a recreational, and the guy that came second who was also a recreational, it's like, oh, you know, that balances it out. And at the end of the day, like, you know, just believing you belong, and then, you know, whatever happens, happens. So
Well, the guy that won the 50K PLO ended up having a super deep run in the main as well.
yeah, he's a bit of a sick guy. Like I was hearing on the day one, some day I think he might have actually he maxed out registered day 2 for like 11 bigs or something, and I was confused because I had a mate who was like, geez, this like hook guy, he's got like 10
Charlie
star
Hook.
stacks, and he was just calling off 60 big blind jams with 8 high pre. So I was kind of confused. Like he just didn't care. So that's the difference. Like when I'm saying like the level of money over there, it's like it's just such a different world where they're just like, you know, he's just I don't even know how many bullets he was in for, but you know, I think
He ended up getting super unlucky to bust too. He lost Ace King versus Queens, and then lost Queens versus Ace King for like chip lead pot with like 13 or 14 left or something.
Yeah,
Both
so
times.
brutal.
Yeah.
So brutal.
Versus the guy that comes second both times.
Yeah, JNT, what a guy.
Yeah.
That was honestly a sick tournament. I wish I could have ran deep or even just min cash. I had a promo that I qualified for due to cashing the main event in Vegas this year. It was like a 3x min cash. So it was like you get 50K for the min cash, but then you also get an additional 25K just for cashing. So I ended up
both, right?
Yeah, so if you cash both, I know I bricked the main event in Bahamas. So it was like pretty brutal because obviously it's like a 3x min cash and it's such a big buy-in. But there's a couple guys that got it. Like I know Nathaniel, he cashed the main and he won the promo as well. So he got like, I think he cashed for like 60K and then he gets like the additional 25K. So it was like huge spot. Obviously, like just min cashing that tournament, you just automatically get a 3x, which is over 100K Aussie. So it's just like,
yeah. So it's the WSOP main in Vegas and then the Bahamas.
Yeah. So if you cash the main in Vegas, you qualify for the promo. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, almost if you cashed the main event in Vegas, you almost have to go and play this just to.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what they were trying to do. They had a $60 million guarantee, which is the largest stage guarantee for a live poker tournament in history. So they overlaid last year and they did 50 million guaranteed last year. So they overlaid like 2 million at a 50 million guarantee and they upped it to 60.
They also had the Triton Invitational, and that's the 250,000 US buy-in. Raymond Kassam, who's English, but he spends a lot of time in Australia as an APO ambassador, works at the Poker Palace. He played that. James Hopkins was there, and he was in quite a lot of DNEG's vlogs too. So, I mean, that's just incredible money. I can't imagine ever playing a $250,000 US. Not even some of the elite pros in Australia. You think of that, you know. Obviously, it's the dream one day or whatever, but that's just huge. But
team up with Bryn.
Yeah. Honestly, like I would say the same thing. Like I could never imagine playing a buy-in that big, and then I looked at it. I'm like, I'm literally like 20% of the way with after this trip. So it's not even. I think like my biggest buy-in 3 years ago would have been like a 2.5K, and all of a sudden, 2-3 years later, it's a 50K US. It's like 40x time. So what's 50K US times 40? What's that? That's like that's the rate I'm going at. So it's like, yeah, you never say never, but yeah, it's just like disgusting amounts of money. So
yeah, it's insane. Now, in that chat there, you mentioned your mate Brayden Jinks, who you talk hands with. We got Brayden Jinks on the show earlier for our Perfect Pairs segment, which I thought, why not? This will be a bit of fun. And I asked Jinksy some questions, see if he got them right. So Perfect Pairs. The first question I asked Jinksy was, what is your birthday?
He's got no chance. Absolutely no chance.
What is it? Let's see. That's what he said.
He's drawing dead.
Yeah,
it's March 21st, 2002.
All right, we're looking for March 21st.
He's gonna hit me with like April or something, May.
Let's see what he said.
Liam's birthday. It's in
Where's he looking?
March. I know that.
Oh,
It's like it's later in March. 23rd.
That's a good guess. That's pretty good. I'll back that. That's honestly be closer than what I would probably get for him. If not, I did get him a birthday present. It was in August. I know that. So
Yeah, 21st of March. That's actually my anniversary.
there you go.
So,
Good things happen on the 21st.
My
Yeah.
birthday's the 27th, so it wasn't not far off.
I had my biggest score on my anniversary, actually, too. 2 biggest scores, I should say.
There you go. I was going to say, which one?
Gold Coast main event. All right. The next question I asked Jinxie was where you are born.
I think he'll get this because we used to always go play poker in this city at Tweed Heads. And every time I was there, we would always talk about moving there. We were like, we should just move here. This place is awesome. Just go live like off the beach or something. We'd always say that. And I would always mention that I was born there. So I think he'll get this.
All right, let's see what Jinxie says.
Liam was born. I feel like it's a trick question. I don't think he was born in Melbourne, but I think maybe I'll just say Melbourne. I feel like, Melbourne.
oh,
He's gonna kick himself when he listens to this later because we used to always have. It's been a couple of years since we've had this chat, but we used to always talk about it.
how did he forget?
You know, it actually reminds me. I went to play a WPT League series at Seagulls. Jinxie was there. I think he may have stayed with us, and he actually said that to me. I remember him saying that to me.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. I really thought he would be nowhere near the birthday and really close to the. I think he would have got the birthday one.
In saying that, I'd forgotten that too until you just mentioned it. So
there you go. Yeah, fair enough.
The next question I asked Jinxie was, do you remember when you first met Jinxie? Where did you guys first meet?
I do remember this. We met at APT Brisbane in Edens Hill. He just had a high score in a 1K that he won, and I was with a girl at the time. And I remember Jinxie came up to me a little bit drunk and said he thought that she might have been the hottest girl he's ever seen in his entire life. And then we became best mates ever since then. And then the next day he was really apologetic about it because he was drunk, obviously. And I was like, it's all good. And then we just became best mates ever since.
Okay, alrighty.
That's a story and a half.
APT Eaton's Hill with one girl.
I remember how I met Liam. I remember the date and the day that it was. To me, it was a day I'll never forget. To Liam, it was probably just another day. But it was the day after my birthday in 2022. I had just won the Players Champs, and at the old Eaton's Hill, the table used to be level with the rest of the tables. And there's tables on the left and on the right, and there's a walkway down the middle of the room. And I'm in seat 3 on the final table, so I could see like directly down the end of the room. And this kid walks in, and I think the best way for me to put it, he had 2 girls with him that have probably never been to Eaton's Hill in their life, and they will never be at Eaton's Hill again for the rest of their lives. And he's walking down this in front of everybody in this whole room with these 2 girls. And I thought, God, look at the balls on this kid. I've got to meet him. So I met him the next day, and literally we've been great mates ever since. So it was September 8th, 2022. I can even remember the day.
Wow.
That's pretty. He's like unsugarcoated it to make himself sound a little better. But yeah, that was the story. So
He's being a bit diplomatic, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's being diplomatic for sure. But that's pretty bang on. Yeah.
He must have been drunk.
One of
because
the
he
first
said
times I met you as well. I think around that.
Yeah,
too.
possibly. Yeah, it was like I don't think you started playing tournaments in like February that year. No, we would have been in September that year. So
Yeah.
would have only been maybe my 5th series and maybe only my 2nd one in Queensland. So
he must have been drunk because
he's a few pints deep after his career high score.
he actually said 2 girls. So he must have had double vision because you would have only been with the one girl.
I think it was definitely only one girl that I was seeing at the time. Maybe she was with a friend as well, but I can't remember exactly. I think it was just one, to be honest.
I asked Jinxie what any obsessions you had outside of poker.
Any obsessions?
Hobbies, obsessions.
Collingwood Football Club. I'm obsessed with the Collingwood
Mhm.
Football Club.
Okay. Yeah.
Do love some techno and EDM music as well. I do love going to festivals and raves, so that would be up there as well. And that'd probably be it. Yeah, I'll just say like going to festivals and Collingwood. That'd be my two things, I'd say.
I see what he said.
Obsessions outside of poker. He's very much a poker head. Like he's poker all day, every day. But he loves his footy. He goes for Collingwood, and he wouldn't miss a game even when he's traveling. I would say his two main hobbies are Collingwood and partying.
There you go. That's pretty spot on.
Spot on.
Pretty spot on.
They know how to play the game. Side by side, they stick together to uphold the Magpie's name.
The marks for that one. The next question I asked him was actually 3 parts. Jinksy's obviously a fantastic commentator in my opinion. He's commentated a lot, particularly when you've been playing. There was one incredible hand you played at APT Eaton's Hill this year. I want to know, I actually made it into a reel on the Australian Poker Schedule on the YouTube channel. I want to know the player it was against, who the dealer was, and just basic rundown of the hand, like really briefly.
Was it you, Catherine? Did you deal that?
Is that your answer?
I mean, I feel like you've got to answer, right?
I can't remember who the dealer was. I think it was. I mean, I'm assuming because you're asking, it might have been Catherine.
Okay.
But
okay,
it was
we'll see
against
that.
Jennifer Castle. I forgot to protect my hand, obviously, if she saw what I had. So that'll teach me. I now I'm really careful with how I peel the cards now. So yeah,
really?
it was against Jennifer Castle, 3 left and a 2.5K buy-in.
You changed how you peeled after that hand?
Yeah, we'll say I did, maybe.
Maybe we're talking about a different hand here. You said 3 left?
Maybe it was 5 left.
I think I know the one you're
left,
talking about, Liam.
5
Maybe
left.
it was 4 left. I don't know. I was on the final table, put it that way.
Okay. All right. And how'd the action go? Just to check it was the right hand.
20 big blinds effective. I limp queen jack off in the small blind.
Okay.
She checks back 7-6 off. Came
I remember this
9-8-5. Check bet call. 10 was a 10. It went check. River was a 5. It went check. Or actually, turn she might have bet small, and I called, and the river went check. Which is crazy.
Pretty sick check back. Let's see if Jinxie remembers that.
I remember it well. I don't forget things like that.
You were commentating it, of course.
I was commentating it. I had a piece as well, and when the hand played out, I was trying to hide my misery on stream. But the hand was against Jennifer Castle, and it was a top straight over the bottom end of the straight. I think the board may have paired on the river potentially, or it might have been a flush completer. I can't remember, but it wasn't nut straight over bottom straight. But it was definitely against Jen. I think it might have even been blind versus blind, and Jen checked back a straight on the river. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, I remember it well.
Do you remember who was dealing?
The reason you're asking, I'm going to say it was probably Amanda.
No, it was actually Catherine Young.
Oh, was it really? Oh, I should have. That was.
That's the other reason I asked it.
I should have known that. Sorry.
Yep. We'll give him 2 out of 3 there. That's pretty good, both of you.
That's pretty spot on, yeah.
It's going to be very likely Jen is the best female player in Australia on the GPR rankings 2 years running, I'd say. Especially after a cash like this.
So you got a message.
And as we have some interaction here.
Well, you didn't even see it.
This is just
I did it
about
for
the
you. I only did it because you were here.
in the deck for Jen Castle. As Jen opts for just under pot, those are calling chips.
Is what I thought.
Sorry. No, you're fine. It's just a bit funny. Yeah.
As the board pairs could slow things down, but it's blind v blind. Let's see what size she comes with here on the river, and it's easier to.
I'm pretty confident that I win.
Where's the rest? That is incredible. as Jen checks back the straight on the board pairing.
You're the best.
The next question I asked him is if you have any superstitions. You have any superstitions?
Ace King offsuit is the worst hand in poker. Like literally the worst hand in poker. If I peel one card under the gun before peeling the other, it's always an ace. So that's another one.
Okay.
But he won't know.
He
that.
won't know
But
this.
like,
Okay. What would he say? What would he say? What would he say?
My superstition. What would he say?
What does he think you're weird about, superstitions wise? You know, maybe something you drink, eat, wear, do a somersault before you sit down. I don't know.
How did you not say put your your ante in first?
Oh yeah, that's my biggest superstition in poker. I always have to put the big blind ante in before the big blind.
Yeah.
And if the dealer does it, I'll ask which way they put the ante in first, and I'll rearrange it if I have to.
Actually?
Yeah.
It's happened to me. He's done it to me. He was like, wait, which one did you put in first? And I'm like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, that's just weird like stuff. That's there. I'm trying to think of something Jinxie would get. I'm not too sure. Something I'm superstitious about.
Oh, well, let's see what he said.
We're both actually superstitious when we play. I think, I reckon he's got like lucky shirts, lucky underwear, lucky whatever, and we're exactly the same. Like when we travel, we're always like, oh, I think I won the last tournament I won. I was wearing this underwear. So he is superstitious. I can't think of anything specific, but he definitely is.
Jinxie's got a special jacket that he wears. He's the most superstitious for sure. So I won this jacket in Vegas from satelliting into the main, and it was like a WSOP GG poker jacket. And I can't remember what happened. Like I won a hoodie as well, and he didn't satellite in. So one day he just wore the jacket downstairs to play a tournament, and it was the millionaire maker, the 1500 millionaire maker. And all of a sudden he comes back up, bags a good stack day one, gets to day two, and he's bagged for day two, and all of a sudden he's like above average. There's like 100 left, and like over $1 million up top. And he's like, it's this jacket. Like it's this jacket. Like I haven't lost when I won this when I bought this jacket. And then he ends up busting for like 25K US, but that was his new high score. So we go to APL Millions, and it was his birthday. So this is in August. It's what I was saying before when I gave him a present for his birthday, and I gave him the jacket because I was like, this jacket just seems like it's a part of you. It seemed I barely wore it. It was like it's a part of you. So he ends up wearing the jacket, and then a couple of days later, he has a brand new high score for 100K in the 5K. So he's like adamant that when he wears the jacket, good things happen. So if you ever see him in a green Squid Game WSP jacket, stay away from his table.
Yeah, he's running hot. My other question I asked Jinxie was, because obviously you went over the WSOP this year in Vegas and you had a good time over there. What would Jinxie say was the best night or experience you guys had over there?
Best night, you said?
Yeah, best night or experience, party.
Look, we had a big night out, which is we said that would never speak about it ever again. But there was some sort of night that happened, and we stumbled home at like 8 a.m. Maybe it was 12 p.m. I don't know. So it was a large night. We were in a booth in a nightclub with like a bunch of people who are a lot better than us at poker. I think there was about 10 bracelets in the booth, and there might have been limousines involved, and there was all sorts of stuff. But we had a lot of fun in Vegas. We'll say that.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah. Let's see what Jinxie said. Best night that you guys had on your Vegas trip this year.
I could say with near certainty it was the night we went and saw Vintage Culture at Excess Nightclub. And if you've got a minute, I'll tell you a story about that night that sums Liam up to a T. When you're mates with Liam, you never know where you're going to end up. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. But when you go to XS, if you don't have a booth, if you just have like a normal ticket, you can't even get onto the dance floor. You can't get anywhere near the DJ. And if you're like, they just throw the peasants out the back and you're behind the DJ, there's like, you can't hear the music. There's a bar next to the toilets. Like it's a pretty bad experience. And that's where we were because we didn't know. And obviously we wouldn't be able to get a booth. Within half an hour, we're in Liam has got us into a private booth with David Peters, Kane Callis, Asher Conniff, right in front of Vintage Culture. and we had like one of the best nights of our lives. And when the night's finished, Kane Cullis actually says to us, "Oh, we're kicking on to another club. Do you want to come?" And we're like, "All right, no worries." There's probably 12 of us. Every single one of those guys had a bracelet except me and Liam. We walk out and they've got, no word of a lie, the biggest stretch Hummer private limousine to take us from one club to another. We get in, we get to the next club, and the cover charge is like 40 USD each, which is probably like 700 AUD total to get everybody in. We go in and Liam's like, "Oh, what do we do?" He puts the card down, pays for everyone to go in. Mind you, we're the only people there that don't have a bracelet. And I'm not sure what happened for the next 24 hours. I'm pretty sure I had the greatest night of my life. I think you'd have to ask Liam what happened, but like that just summed him up to a T. We had no hope that night, and then a half an hour later, we're in the booth and had the best night of our lives. So that's a story that sums Liam up.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, as you said.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, it was like I ran into like one mate that I had played PLO with in Australia before, and he was an American guy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm in a booth with a bunch of poker players." He's like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "All right." And all of a sudden, yeah, it was right next to the DJ. Like it would have cost tens of thousands of dollars, and there was just anyone who was anybody was there. And then all of a sudden, we were just in the back of the limo with them, and it was the rest was history. So yeah, it's pretty insane.
This question is a bit more controversial than you think. If you play a tournament and the buy-in is $250, 200 plus 50, or do you say the rake is as a percentage?
This is a funny question. I just had a big debate with Bert about this actually. So usually I would say 20, right? And then I was having this debate with Bert, and he's like, "Okay, so if you go to the store and you buy something for $100, what's the tax on it?" And I was like, "Oh," because he's like, the tax obviously doesn't get added on top; it comes out. So he's like, it's 10% tax, but it's included in the price. So I can't remember what his conversion was. I think that means 25%. I would still say 20, but I've opened up a lot more to the thought that it could be more.
All right, we'll see what Jinxie said. I'm interested to know his answer. All right, this one's more controversial than you think. If you're playing a tournament, right, and the buy-in's $250 and it's 200 plus 50, what would you say the rake is in a percentage?
It's obviously 20%. I don't even know why you're asking me that. I do, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, the only reason I've started to maybe consider it to be a different answer is because Bert said the GST example, and that kind of like opened my eyes up a little bit. Like, I don't know how he explained. He explained it in a way where I didn't feel like he was a complete idiot saying it was more than 20%. Because obviously,
I think he's got a valid point, because only 200 of the buy-in goes towards the buy-in. So 50% of that is, 25% of that is the rake.
Yeah, it's. I mean, at the end of the day, like, there's a part of me that wants to hold on to the fact that it's 20% because it just makes the operator sound even worse if the number goes up and the rake doesn't actually go up. So there's a part of me that wants to like keep them in the game and not have literal pitchforks just trying to like murder everyone. So yeah.
All right, we'll go.
The answer is a tie. That's what the answer is. A tie.
It is.
I think he's your perfect fan. I think he knows a lot about you.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. I thought, the birthday one I'm surprised he got, and then I was what was the other one? I can't remember. I was shocked.
You didn't know where you grew up.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he didn't get that one out of all the answers. But yeah, that was fun.
All right. Well, as we just finished talking about Liam, obviously you've been nominated for the Young Player of the Year. You have said you're 23. 23 is about the cutoff, although it wasn't completely locked in. But I've been consulting with Didier about all this sort of stuff, and Didier Gurin obviously helped me with it. And 23 is what we decided was the Young Player of the Year. That's the same in most sports and games and everything like that. So you're up for Young Player of the Year. You obviously had an incredible year. But yeah, just talking about that. So Australian Poker Schedule Fans Choice Awards. We put it out to the fans to bring up the nominations. This wasn't my picks. It was all done by the fans. I had a couple of hundred people send in nominations, And then the people that got nominated the most, the top 5 formed the candidates that were put up for voting. So you're up there for that, obviously. You can go to AustralianPokerSchedule.com and check out all the nominees and vote. You just need to log in first, then the voting stuff comes up. So make sure you do that if you're interested in voting for it. We'd really appreciate it. A couple of people that I think were a bit stiff to miss out. I just want to run through a few names. Josh McSweeney, obviously, you said you got headed up with him in the main. He won the WPT Prime. Amin Riazadi Yeeta had a good year. Naj is a nice guy. He had a pretty good year as well. Dylan Wayne, I saw him up there in the GPI rankings. He's been crushing it in Asia. Daniel Nielsen. Daniel could have actually been in Content Creator of the Year as well. Some of the videos, and remember the content that he said.
Yeah.
I think Troy, obviously, 5-bet bluff, didn't get picked, did get a couple of nominations, but wasn't enough to get you in the top 5. So it was a pretty tough category.
I'll be giving Nathaniel some shit for being nominated for a category that he has no chance of winning. So I've been letting him know about it.
Yeah, Nathaniel's in the Player of the Year.
He keeps calling me little guy, and he's just like, you just worry about your Young Player of the Year award.
Well, you can say to this, I can reveal that you were actually nominated for Player of the Year a couple of times as well, but you just wasn't the top 5 sort of thing. So
fair enough. I was just letting Nathaniel know. I was like,
you could have been both.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I cashed 3 times more than what you did this year, Nathaniel. And he's like, yeah, you just worry about your Young Player of the Year award, mate. So.
No, it's good. It creates a bit of banter too, like not too serious. That's good. Michelle Buskilla, most cashes all time in Australia. He missed out on the business regs. Robert DeMillion as well. They did get a couple of noms. Ash Gupta got a few noms in business reg. It wasn't in the top 5, was it? Yeah, Ash Gupta.
He had a $1 million score. I was like, how can he not be considered the business reg of the year with a $1 million score?
Bert Perry said Jared Thatcher should have got it, but nominated for business reg now. But Bert said that about you too, Troy. And I said, did you nominate? And he said no. So I mean, people have got to nominate if you can't whinge about it if they don't nominate. Anya Asmoy, the female, she was a bit unlucky too, I thought, as a lot of series. But yep. Make sure you get on the Australian Poker Schedule website. Fans Choice Awards. We're going to have a live event. Queens Bees are letting us host it up there at their event, at their venue on the Monday, 19th of January. It's going to be a really cool awards night. AFL have the Brownlows. NRL have the Dally M medal. I want to try and build this up so it's a special night for everyone. Hopefully Kathy's going to be there. Hopefully Troy. I'll be there, obviously. And
you're hosting
all the Yeah, I may be hosting. We might be lucky enough to get a more professional host, but I'll do my best if not. But yeah, no, it's going to be good. We're going to stream it too on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that. There'll be hopefully 65 nominees all up, and they get a +1. So hopefully we get around 100 people at this event. So looking forward to that.
It's a really cool initiative. It's like we see a lot of this stuff happen overseas. Yeah. They have lots of Hall of Fames and ceremonies and all that stuff. So
the GPI awards that they have at the Poker Go studio and Queen Bees is like a really luxurious boutique poker perfect room for poker and perfect for this too, I think. So
it's good for poker because you want people to be striving towards things. You want people to be playing more poker, putting more blinds in, and increasing the ecosystem. It's like good for everything all around.
Yeah. Zac Gay from Sydney, he's created a new channel called GTOish. He's obviously studied GTO player, and obviously the ish part is more the exploitative sort of part, and he sort of mashes that together. I think he could be one of the content creator nominees next year. But there was an interesting hand I just wanted to talk about, that the King series, I think it was at Churchill's. So let's just check this out.
Blinds up to 800, 1600. A lady opens to 5,000 from early position. We peeled 2 7s, and this is probably the worst hand that I'm going to flatten this spot. I like to call, the button calls as well, and the blinds get out of the way. We see a very, very dreamy flop of 7-3-3 with 2 spades. We flop a boat. Even better when the lady leads for 11k, nothing to do but call here, and the button quickly folds. I think when the lady bets this spot for such a big size, she always has an overpair, so I did consider just jamming the flop, but I do want the button to come along if he has a flush draw. It turns a very beautiful looking deuce, and she starts to collect her chips. I don't waste any time and put the call in, but
your hand's like here. You can't hold your stack like this. Okay. It's alright, we'll get a shot. It's alright. It's okay. Well, I know that you are, because you're like this. Yeah, it's alright. when we see the two queens, it's never like, oh, I had ace five suited. It was like here.
I just want to know what the rule is.
All right. Well, when she has two queens, it's gonna be like. It's alright. I know. Well.
So she went forward, but didn't put the chips down.
It was like here, and I went like that and showed my hand. So. What? It's like here. And if you see her hand, it's going to be an overpair, which makes it like also.
You guys play no forward motion here, right? Well, there's no forward motion in the TDA, but there also should be a penalty because it is.
I wasn't trying to do anything. I just want to know what the rule is.
Yeah, I know.
I know, but if you show your hand, it's going to be an overpair, which means that you're not bluffing. So it's. But I know, but you're only saying that because I have a full house. That's what I.
I'm not. I swear to God, I don't know what the rule is.
You can't put your chips all the way over. Basically, suggest.
That and who's the one that?
Yeah, because I called because it was like here.
I understand, but
Yeah.
in this situation, I'm going to have to force that bet in.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
Should I please?
I don't have a point.
Well, you have overpair. It's alright.
Choose the chips. Maybe because they play no forward.
You know what you did?
Huh?
You hustled for this sport. You won this sport by hustling.
I know.
In terms of post,
I know. Maybe I shouldn't have won.
Obviously a pretty spicy one. Not sure who was in the wrong there. At Kings, they don't play forward motion, but it was pretty clear she was putting her chips in. Let me know in the comments what you think. Keen to hear your thoughts.
That's the.
I thought so. She was forced to, but like she was forced to put it in. So for me, like I just always err on the side of caution anyway. Like I would just fully wait until she's 100% put her chips in, like solidly on the felt, because I don't want any situation like this to occur. And like I know he's snapping, but just wait one extra second. But I don't hate the ruling, to be honest. It's a massive angle. Like even if he didn't enforce her to put the chips in, he was going to give her a penalty anyway, because that was like a really huge angle.
I think that's the wrong ruling. I think like the onus is on the player, which is Zac in this situation, to confirm that it's all in. And I know he's trying to do the right thing by fast rolling his hand, and I do the same thing. I always fast roll my hand, but I still always confirm. Same thing when I go all in and someone flicks a chip in, I'll always confirm if that's a call or not before showing my 3 high or my full house. So it's just like you just got to confirm these things, and like there isn't a forward motion ruling. So it's not. Yeah, if I'm that lady, I'm definitely like being really annoyed about that, because like even though it's not, it shouldn't be considered an angle because it's not her fault that he's called out of turn. If that makes sense.
You don't think it should be an angle when anyone grabs their chips and holds it up?
If they do that and the other person doesn't do anything, then yeah, that's an angle. But if the person calls out of turn, then it's not your fault, right? Because you haven't completed your action yet. So if anything, they're just giving you more information for you to make a better decision, right?
I think I disagree, because I think the angle is they're trying to get the call, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That is exactly what an angle is. It's getting more information, which is what she got. She got the information of raising her stack, seeing that he made a call. Like that's exactly what an angle is.
We need to see what she actually did though, because I'm just assuming she went to put the chips out slowly, and then he's called out a turn. If she like holds the chips over and then he calls, that's different. That's an angle. But if she's just betting and she hasn't put the chips in yet, but she's reaching forward and then he calls out a turn, then that's not an angle.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just going off what he said.
He's just
literally said.
if she's holding it out there,
I think the way he explained it too is, sort of favoured him a little bit that he was doing that. But yeah, I see actually exactly how Liam sees it. I don't believe she deliberately intentionally angled, but look, I could be wrong.
We need to see what actually happened. But like, I'm just going off the fact that I'm assuming she's not angling, because most people wouldn't be. I'm just assuming that she's betting slowly, and if she's betting slowly, then he's just called out a turn, which means that she's got more information to go off. Yeah, this actually happened to me recently, like where someone called out of turn, and then it ended up actually being considered a bet out of turn. because it just like whatever chips they throw in as a call actually just in turn ended up being a bet out of turn. It was like really weird. So I ended up checking, and then the bet stood, and then I jammed. So it was a really weird hand.
I think
But
Zach's just made a mistake, as you've identified, Liam. Like, I mean, it wasn't an intentional mistake, but it is a mistake.
He definitely acted too quickly.
Yeah,
I would say he showed those cards
and
way.
I don't think the lady is doing it, hanging it out there, waiting to see if she can get a reaction from him at all. I wouldn't think that at all.
He's trying to be a nice guy, but nice guys finish last. So.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I think. Yeah, I don't think they got the ruling right there. Actually,
Did anyone see the slow roll on the bubble for the main event in the Bahamas?
Was it Daniel Nielsen? He wasn't on there this year. Couldn't have been him.
With the shorter stack, just big call. Yeah, when you said induce, you were talking about read sevens, but all of a sudden, Benny awakening to something that could put him to bed.
How can you not, Faraz? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this, if you think Eric is not 3-betting enough, you could get away with this, but otherwise it's very difficult to get away from.
Ouch for Glazer.
He backs up the truck, and unfortunately it's about to roll right back over him in all likelihood. Was asking for a count. This does
shouldn't
feel
he call ready?
A little bit,
well,
a little bit gnarly, boys. I think you're supposed to just snap. This is.
He asked for a count.
I don't really get this.
He double checked his hand.
Maybe is there a pay jump he's
we're
take some time for anything? No,
well, hold on. We're at 10 players. Yeah, there is a ladder between 10 and 9.
Okay, so he probably
665 turns into 850.
This is ridiculous, no?
But I don't think Benny's going to be amused when he sees aces here.
Call and call.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that's why he was waiting. So I don't know.
This is not real, is it?
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
But why? Why, Ali?
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know if there's a history there, but you see Benny.
Need a lot of help. Queens.
Understandably demoralized. He's already staved off elimination on a couple of occasions.
Just couldn't let it go.
I'm glad he did that because
I just couldn't let it go. Okay, now it's starting to feel pretty clearly less associated with a pay ladder and more associated with a pound of flesh. And it is Glazer's flesh that rates to be grilled in short order here. Could draw dead swiftly, absent a queen on the turn.
Give him a chance. I want to see a queen.
You have him covered. Pocket sevens.
Not a queen.
Good sevens?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
But a 7, and in turn, the departure of a World Series king in Benny Glazer, 3-time bracelet winner.
Aces.
That applause there, likely associated with the revelation of his demise.
So sick.
I'm covered.
Really nice play.
GG's, Benny. Wow. Now he.
Yeah. We were speaking about it. We were saying like we've never really seen Wasserman be a nice guy, and I've only ever heard really good things about Benny Glazer. I know Matthew Wakeman is good friends with him. They play a lot of online together on PokerStars, and Benny Glazer's got like the most scoop titles in PokerStars history. Says he's nothing but an absolute gentleman. So I've only ever heard bad things about Wasserman, and then all of a sudden Wasserman's just slow rolling him in the second biggest tournament of the year. So I was just like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
I do want to talk about the Star Shot Clock series. What do you think about that? I particularly like it. I think it's innovative. I like that it's fully transparent. We're called the Shot Clock series. You can't be any more transparent than that. If you don't like shot clocks, I probably wouldn't play it. Just like if you don't go to a steak restaurant if you don't like steak. It's the Shot Clock series. I like fast poker. I've played at Queen Bees recently. They played shot clock, and most of the table that I played at the Queen Bees last weekend, it was shot clock. Mostly recreational players, and I didn't see a shot clock time chip used in the whole session because everyone's just playing faster anyway. But some people won't like it. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't like shot clocks, but that's only because I'm not someone who needs a shot clock, and I've never really I act fast until I need time, and then I feel very anxious about the time that's being put on me. Like, you know, if all day I've been that person who's been acting really efficiently, really quickly, and then all of a sudden I'm in a spot, I'll be like, you know, sorry guys, just give me a sec. And usually most people are like lenient with that and allowing you to have that extra time because you haven't been exploiting the time all day. An entire shot clock tournament is quite tough, and like, I mean, you can use it to your advantage as well. Like, you know, you see someone that's only got one time chip left or no time chips left, and you can put them in spots that they don't want to be put in, and it's very strategic. And like, I'm all for it near the bubble because that's when people are exploiting it. People are exploiting time. People are just tanking just for a pay jump or so they can get to the bubble. All for it there, but for an entire 20, I mean, unless it's like 30, 40 seconds, like a decent amount of time, 20 seconds can sometimes just be a bit too quick.
Yeah, you get time banks and stuff, but what do you reckon, Troy?
I'm a big fan of shot clocks. I think they should be in almost all tournaments, but I think you should have time chips to be able to put in to give you extra time. There was a pretty interesting. I haven't really thought of it from a recreational point of view, but when I was playing the PLO tournament at Crown the other day, they had I think it was a 30-second shot clock, and then after the 30 seconds, your hand's dead. And there was a recreational that was on my table that he kind of was trying to work out if he made a straight or didn't make a straight, and the time kind of ran out, and he just went all in because he didn't have enough time to work out if he actually made his hand or not. The 30 seconds wasn't enough. So I think from that point of view, I hadn't really thought of it like that before. So I think personally for me, I think they're no-brainer, but I hadn't thought of it from the recreational point of view in that way.
I mean, there's different levels of recreational too. I mean, like, you know, I'd call Michelle Anunu and a recreational player. He wouldn't have an issue with knowing the rules or whatever, I don't believe. Like guys like Martin Ward and the guys being nominated in our business reg category. But then you've got recreationals that, you know, it might be their first or second game. They're going to struggle with the rules. What do you think, Liam? Do you like it or?
I mean, like, I'm a pretty well-known abuser of tournaments that don't have shot clocks in them. So, I mean, if they don't want to put shot clocks in, I'm happy to just print money. But if they want to make it fair for everyone, then it's very easy to add the shot clocks in, right? I remember in a tournament that your wife actually TD'd, Amanda, and I got like 3 pay jumps in the space of 2 hands because I just tanked for 5 minutes in each hand. And like everyone's like yelling at me in the comments on the stream. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, I get it. It's bad viewing, but I also just made like $2,500 in about 8 minutes. So like, would you not do the same thing? So yeah, I think there's a very clear place for them. They can obviously still be abused, shot clocks. But you know, I think that like for example, in the Bahamas recently, they did 20 seconds pre-flop and then the 30 seconds post-flop. And while I think like I get the purpose of it, but also if you're facing a 3-bet, 20 seconds wasn't really enough time. And I thought that it was a bit not generous for that buy-in. And also people were still taking the full 20 seconds pre-flop and they were getting penalties regardless, which I thought was silly because I'm like, what's the point of the shot clocks? If you want to use your time banks to stall for pay jumps, or if you want to use the 20 seconds to tank, I think that you should have that option. That's the whole purpose of the shot clocks. Like some people want to use their time banks to make decisions and they can use it for that. So I think like it should be like on the person to make the decision what they want to do with the time banks. But I guess some people don't like the shot clock tournaments, but I think overall for the greater good of the game, it's for the best. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
The amount of time is, I think, the most important. If you're going to, like, 20 is rough. Like, you know, you're trying to work out someone's stack. Like, you're looking at, like, how much have they got. Then you're trying to work out, like, you're right, if you're facing a big decision, you're facing a 3-bet, 4-bet, you're facing, like, possibly going all in. Like, 20 seconds is rough. So for me, it's all about time. As long as you get a good amount of time and they're not like some crazy 15, because I mean, you know, the star is notorious for turbo events, so I'm just thinking like, what are they going to do, like 15-second, 20-second shot clock? If they do that, then I'm not for it. I don't know how long they're going to be doing.
Yeah, there are going to be time chips in that as well. I don't think the satellites you get time chips, but the other ones you do. But I'd say, look, so with shot clocks, it speeds up the game. You get more hands per hour, or you should do anyway. I think it's got to be applied right. If you've got a TD that understands the game well. You've got dealers that understand the game well, and it's implemented right. And look, as Liam says, like if they do notice and you get lots of complaints about the time, you know, and you've got some flexibility to make it 35 seconds or whatever, or give someone an extra 2 chips for the next day or whatever, and you can just sort of assess it. I think overall it's great for poker in the long term, particularly for like competitive games. If you don't understand PLO and you don't know whether you've got a straight or a flush or whatever, you know, that's kind of the onus is on the player to know the rules before they play, and have a few practice games before you jump in a shot clock, because you are going to need to think quicker. But yeah, look, I can see both sides. I mean, but I actually like it. I think it's innovative. I congratulate the Star on doing that, because, you know, we've been very pro shot clocks in different situations. It's called the Shot Clock Series. I hope it goes well for them. Yeah.
What I don't like is operators using shot clocks as a cop out to keep rake prices the same, which
True,
I'm noticing is becoming a thing. Is they're running like $2,500 tournaments and they're running them on shot clocks and 30-minute levels, but they're still taking the same amount that they would take for a 3-day tournament that runs hour-long levels. They're like, oh well, it's the buy-in, you know, it's a 2.5K. It's a 2.5K, so I can take 250. It's like, well, no, like just because your $1,500 tournament takes 200 in a 40-minute 3-day structure doesn't mean that you can start taking like 13% of a 1,500 just win a 20-minute level thing. Like I noticed that the one thing I will say about Taipei, which is where I just came from before the Bahamas, is the tournaments were great. Like there was the fields were awesome, they were huge, but like I was seeing 5K single day high roller tournaments that were getting raked at 10% rake plus 3% staff fee, and they were running 25-minute levels. I'm like, just because your main event is like, you know, the same price as a 10K, and you take you know, like X, Y, Z percentage, doesn't mean you can do this for all the tournaments that are running at a fraction of the cost. So I think there is some level of accountability that I don't understand why APL, for example, who we know are very favorable to, you know, making their money, will say, like it would make them so much more money if they had shot clocks, because the tournaments would be done quicker. So you know, eventually all the operators are going to come around to shot clocks because it makes them more money. I just hope that they keep the buy-in and fee percentages, you know, respective to the time and cost of the tournament, and not just, oh, this buy-in equals this rate. So
yeah, that's a very good point. I was quite critical, actually. The Star had I think it was the WPT Australia event. They had what they called the Premier Hyper Turbo, and it was $11.50, and they still charged $150 rake, and it was 12-minute blinds. Hyper, just because it was $11.50, they think you're entitled to take $150. No, that's not how it works, and the operators need to understand that. So, but I've had a look through the Star Series schedule, and you know, the rake's fine. All the blinds are, you know, 20, 30, 40 minutes. They've got rid of the 12-minute. They've got rid of the 15-minute. The 15 minutes are only satellites, which is fine. So yeah,
I'll give you another example as well.
A lot of improvements there.
In the Bahamas, they had a 50K turbo bracelet event, which is just disgusting in itself. It's just like, wow, just sick amounts of money to be gambling. But it was 20-minute levels, and the tournament went for 10 hours, and they took 50,000 plus 2,000 plus 3% staff fee. So they were taking like $3,500 rake.
And did people blow up about it?
Not really. People just paid it because they want to win a bracelet. So like the tournament went for 10 hours and it got like 180 runners, and they got 3.5K USD per runner. Like, I don't know if anyone's got a mental maths, but like 160 runners times 3.5K USD.
Did you hear of any pros taking sitting out, like, because of that?
I know some people did sit out, but a lot of people just want to max their reg and win a bracelet in 6 hours. So but yeah, it's like a disgusting hourly for them to win. I mean, a lot of people were justifying it because they're doing so many promos with the parlay that they offered and all the Luxem promos that they offered to get rate back. But still, like, it's just a lot of money to take for us. A tournament so big that doesn't go for that long. I see tournaments like the Super High Roller Bowl. It's like rake free because it's like they're doing it for the spectacle and whatnot. It's like I guess WSOP have a little bit of a monopoly on the market. They know that people want to win bracelets, and the higher the buy-ins are, the less runners there are. So it means that the more chance you are of winning, even though the fields are tougher. So they can kind of charge what they want, but it's pretty gross. Like, it's a lot of money. So I hope that operators do like keep themselves in line with that stuff, especially in Australia.
Well, speaking about rake, and you know, I feel like it's needed to be said because we've had a few episodes on it. We did have a small interaction the other week, and that was brought to our attention about Poker Palace and from Lauren. And Troy wanted to talk about the rake that he couldn't see on the schedule that got posted. We are all about transparency. Troy was just wondering where the rake was, and it seemed like that did not go down very well.
Yeah, look, Lauren reached out. She said she'd been biting her tongue for a while because there was a bit of perception that Poker Pulse podcast, Australian poker schedule had been a bit biased towards Australian Poker Open, Poker Palace, etc. Look, I mean, just, you know, upfront as it is from Australian Poker Schedule and Poker Pulse, like we try to call it as it is. Sometimes we're going to get things wrong, but with this, the APO, I don't think we got it wrong. We have had issues, like we have called out the rake and not being transparent and high rake for multiple operators. We don't give operators a pass. Believe me, if the Australian Poker Tour or WPT League or Mount Gambier or whoever, they don't start disclosing their rake, we're going to say it as well. If they start charging 30, 20, 25% rake, you know, we're going to have a conversation about it. Amazing Dalton House. It's a pretty spectacular venue. Staff there really well looked after, most professional dealers and TDs and everything that you can imagine.
It's the event of the year. I really do feel like in the poker calendar.
There's a little bit of talk about rake and a little bit of lack of transparency in some of the structures and the way it was written.
Like a lot of the events, like even the main event, you would think it was like, was the $3,300 buy-in. You'd think it would be like, you know, $300 rake or whatever, but it ended up being like $370.
And it's not just a matter of it being high, because like, you know, you can charge whatever you deem to be acceptable as rake, but I think it was more about you should be knowing beforehand that that is what it's going to be. And normally when you see a schedule, it usually has buy-in, and then it always has like the brackets, like, you know, how much is going towards the price or how much is going towards rake. That's just like the norm of what we've gotten used to in the poker industry, sort of seeing that. And so I think that is what was maybe a little bit more on the controversial side, seeing that it was probably one of the only series that I've ever seen that didn't actually advertise the rake, which just, I don't know, transparency is pretty important.
Yeah, I agree with what Kathy and Troy both have said, is that the issue is not so much on like how much the rake is, because I can't speak highly enough of how well APO runs that series. If you're both a professional poker player or just a recreational, going to that series is an absolute spectacle. So having a higher rake, if they think that is what they deserve or what that's fine. But at the same time, there needs to be some transparency. And I think especially, I mean, poker players are going to call that out.
And the staff and everything were amazing. The chips are...
Those oversized chips are really nice.
Yeah, really nice oversized chips. And they have the stream costs as well. People forget about that. They all tune in to watch the stream, but they forget the costs.
I'm not sure I can beat the travel rake, the regular rake, and the real tournaments. And it's becoming a really complicated thing. Like, you know, I feel I'm being pushed to Asia, pushed to pursue stakes in Asia that are at least reasonably raked. But there was one thing that I saw that Joel said in his video, and I mean, we can take some positives from this. It was a really, really funny video. So, you know, Joel's done well with that. I had a good laugh at it, so did others.
Can we let the 200 comments speak for themselves? Poker players are finally speaking their mind, and not only speaking their mind, but voting with their feet.
Changes are just so minimal, and they don't even make it any better anyway, really.
It's like we're bashing like APL. It's got nothing to do with APL. APL was just the last series we're at. We could talk about APO, which didn't even disclose their rake. Like, it's
yeah, don't even get me started on that one. What the actual is that?
Yeah,
hidden rake. I got sent something with 2 to 5% hidden rake coming out of the next series.
Then we want to talk about the tournaments that are about to come up with WPT. 12-minute blind levels, some of them, and I understand it's like turbo, but then I don't think the rake justifies that at all.
Crown's satellite for the Aussie Millions.
What was the actual buy-in? What was the actual? How was it written? What's the prize pool versus the?
So it's $85 with $29 rake.
Unbelievable.
We just try to call it as we see it. Overall, I know I've been very positive and defensive APO because I know how much effort goes into it. I know the quality of the room, the dealers, the TDs. The tables, the chips, everything that they do, they provide a lot of stuff for players as well. So I've been very positive about that. I know it's on the record. Yeah, Troy, what did you think? Did you think anything of it? You know,
I think I don't have an issue with however much they charge in rate, but I just think it should be transparent on the data that they're putting into, you know, like the rate from that series that they're running in January, it's on the spreadsheet. It doesn't even show the rake at all, and you have to go into the post that was made, and it said what the rake was for 3 of the tournaments. So I mean, yeah, I just think that it should be for every series that someone has a rake, it should be the tournament. It should be in brackets after the tournament.
For every other brand.
And just quickly,
doing it.
I've been quite harsh of AP, like not harsh, but I called APL out as well, and we all have about their rake. But the thing with APL is it's all transparent, right? They have a player's guide. It's fully there for you to see, right? So you don't read that guide, get to the series and go, oh, you're charging how much? Like there's no extra staff charge or whatever. It's all there. So that is perfect. And a lot of operators do that now too. And that's the thing. So if you don't show your rake, don't show it at your own peril, because the first comment on the Facebook post is, what's the rake? That's literally it now.
King's Room did it really well. They had like on the back of their schedule sheet, it was like at the bottom, there was like 7 different buy-ins they had for the series. And it would just say, okay, if the buy-in's 2K, the rake's this. If the buy-in's 1,500, the rake's this. So there was like 7 buy-ins in the whole schedule. And it wasn't like different percentage for different tournaments that are the same buy-in. It was just, if it was this buy-in, this is what the rake is. And it was all just at the back of the page. It's like really easy to read. I will just like say, like, I like really like Will and Lauren a lot. And I think they run really good poker series. And I think they definitely look after the players a lot better than most other operators. And I think they, as you said, their expenses are probably higher than other operators. I do remember like speaking to Will about this at APO last year, where I was like asking questions about the rake, and they actually like didn't really know like where like they didn't really realize they hadn't posted it. So I think they're hopefully going to make that a change for the APO this year, where everything will be a lot more transparent. And at the end of the day, like as Troy said as well, I think you sort of pay for what you get. Like I know, like for example, I'm going to try the series in March next year, and they run really high rake. But you pay for what you get. Like you get the best service in the world, you get the best experience, you get looked after, you get an amazing app that gives you details on everything. Like you pay a little bit extra, but you get what you paid for. And I guess that's why people maybe didn't like APL as much, because they thought the service wasn't great. And even though the rate wasn't awful for a lot of the events, it was just more so the service. So I don't think anyone's really in denial about like paying a higher percentage when you get good experience, but everyone wants to know what they're getting into before they pay it, which I agree.
Especially when you got to travel and all that. Yeah,
Completely agree.
That's what it is. You know, have a full player's guide like APL, and everyone's happy.
And I don't think it's just the Poker Palace that aren't. Like I think there's a couple of other series that haven't put it on their schedule as well. Like as the general rule, that after the buy-in should be in brackets the amount of rake that's taken out on all schedules. I think that just makes the most sense, and then it's transparent for everyone. No one's asking questions. No one's asking if it's hidden, or it's just transparent.
Just want to know. It's just simple as that,
And the fact that I think that's like one of the most important things that should be on the schedule, right? Like the date, the time, the rake, the buy-in, the blind levels. I think like it's just one of the things that has to go on there. It's not less important than the date, right? It's
like anything, just not just in poker, just outside of that. If you see someone's not disclosing everything fully, you sort of think straight away, well, why are they not showing it? So it sort of instantly makes you sus. And then
I know PlayLive were struggling with that as well. Like they made it really difficult and hard to find out what the rake was. You had to go on the website, scroll all the way to the bottom. It was like wasn't structured well. It was like just a long list. It was just like really painful to find. And then when I commented on it, they were like, yeah, you find it here. And when I finally found it, I was like, oh, the rake's really high. This is why they didn't post it. So
yeah. I mean, PlayLive, they've, just to quickly talk about them, I mean, they're getting some big numbers down there. They're running some big series. But, it's one of those series that just make sure you read the terms and conditions before you attend, because you need to know exactly what's going on in terms of the buy-in, the hospitality charge, the half stack, all that sort of stuff. They're questions that I'd be asking. It's not advertised as half stack at this and then that. So again, they're not disclosing it. Why? Because, they don't want to. So it just makes you think, well, but they are getting big numbers down there. They're getting some fantastic players down there as well. A lot of people are supporting it, and, good on to them. I'm not here to call them out for whatever other than just be transparent about it. That's it. That's all I want. That's why the Australian poker schedule first started, to make stuff clear so that you know what you're getting before you turn up. Now, something that's been going on, a trend that we've seen, Spotify Wrapped, TikTok Wrapped. We've got Poker Pulse Wrapped. I just want to sort of show you a few numbers for that before we wrap up the show. So just check this out. Poker Pulse Wrapped. As I said, it's the last episode of the year. 2025 has been huge for us. for a lot of people, for Liam. We actually had 14 episodes in 2025. That includes State of Origin 1 and Kathy.
14 different guests on our 14 different episodes. We have had a big year. Only can tell what's going to be happening next year. Very excited for it. We did do some special investigations. There were 3 onto this. It's becoming a little bit of our signature now to just cover what the poker players want us to cover. Here's a really cool statistic. We had 27,904 views. 332 new subscribers. Thank you to every single one of you for that, by the way. All you have to do is just quickly like and subscribe, and it helps us so much. And there was 3,000 hours watched. So you guys are loving us, and that's really, really, like, we're just so grateful for that. Thank you.
You see our top episodes there. Joel and Jackie, Corey Van Jay. Of course, we talked about the instance there with Tom Bauer. We had Josh Foster, where we that was quite a good player probe with him and his mate Daniel Desmond. So that was pretty funny. And we talked about Jade Mitchell and the situation that happened up at Townsville. You can go back and watch all of these. I wouldn't go back to episode 1. We were pretty rubbish then, but we do try to improve. And then the Raking Bad episode last time, we had a lot of really positive feedback about that. So look, we're enjoying doing it. It's, keeps us entertained, keeps us busy. We like talking to guys like Liam. What's it do for you, Troy?
Sorry?
What's the Poker Pulse? What do you got to say about the Poker Pulse this year?
It's been really fun, and I've enjoyed having all the guests that we've had on, and it's been a good experience.
Yep, you've enjoying the feedback, both good and bad. Sometimes we cop it. Sometimes most of the stuff's feedback's really positive, and that's it. And if we get negative feedback, sometimes we deserve it.
We take it on.
We take it on. We try and improve.
100%.
Yeah. Liam.
And Liam, you're a massive advocate for a lot of good things in poker. I do love seeing you're usually one of the first to comment on most things. You're always trying to push for players, make our lives a lot better. And I actually want to thank you for that, because I don't know if enough people have said to you, like, thank you, but I know some of the things you do, and I know some of the conversations you have, and I know you're just always trying to push for better and better things. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries. You can thank the autism a bit. I just can't help myself with commenting. I'm just if I see something, I'll just speak it into existence instantly. So it sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, everyone just wants a better playing experience, no matter what, right? So one example of that was the time bank thing that I spoke about. It's I'm happy to just exploit the rules, but at the end of the day, it's not good for poker. It might be better for my pocket, but I'd much rather the game be in a better spot and for everyone instead of just a selected amount of people. So I think it's important for everyone to keep calling out the good and bad in poker. We see everyone get praised for their results, so we should not see people get spoken about when they're down something, but see the operators get spoken about when they do something wrong and making the game a better place for the new year. So
and we do have this thing called,
I think that's maybe we could improve on a little bit next year, maybe calling out the good stuff. Maybe we don't do that as much as maybe what we should, because we do call out a lot of the bad stuff. So maybe next year we can try and focus on stuff that companies and businesses are doing well, I guess, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone wants a scandal. Everyone likes listening to a scandal.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone would not want to trade in the scandals for just a better overall environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of good stuff, the Fans' Choice Awards, that's to reward good stuff. And the Poker Pulse podcast, we did get nominated, Content Creator of the Year. I didn't nominate myself. It was nominated by, as I said, we had at least a dozen nominees for that. So that was good to see. So if you want to vote for us in the Content Creator of the Year, it's a really tough category. We've got Nelson Dong, who's got infinite followers now. He's doing that, but good luck to him as well, So we do have this thing also, Liam, called Poker Pulse Run Good. We recently saw it with Nathaniel. He came on the Poker Pulse and he instantly shipped 2 packages to the Bahamas. We won't talk about it. He actually was in for... Actually. Did he?
Yeah, it was 3 packages and there was 5 left. And he
that's Poker Pulse Run Good.
Cracked my aces BBB with a set of 7.
I didn't hear about that. That's good to know. That's good.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Run Good, cracking aces there. We won 2 packages. I think he was in for 4 bullets. over there, and he cashed 60K. So with the packages, I think he actually
Yeah,
did
and the
quite well.
parlay as well.
Had a great experience, too. Like, just winning packages over to the Bahamas twice. So yeah, hopefully you get some of that run good too, Liam. I did see a comment on your post from Josh Baraba in relation to you winning Young Poker Player of the Year in 2025. If that happens, he said it's all down here from there because he won it last year in 2024, and I guess he didn't have a good year. I'm not sure. So.
Yeah, I was just with him last night actually, and he saw me. We were talking about just a few things, poker and whatnot, and he saw me lose every single hand I played. So yeah, I think he knows I've been on a little bit of a downswing, so he's sort of just poking a bit of fun at me there.
Yeah. All right. Well, make sure you follow us on socials: Facebook, Instagram, 5Bet Bluff, the official Kathy. What's your handle there, Liam?
At Liam Jehu and at Liam Jehu Poker is where I post everything poker related on Instagram, and then Liam Jehu on Facebook.
Yep. So follow Liam. Yep. So to wrap up the episode, thanks so much everyone for watching. Thanks to all our 500 almost subscribers, and hope everyone has a fantastic break, Christmas, New Year's, whatever you celebrate at this time of year. If you're playing poker,
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, make sure you have a win at poker. Make sure you have some time off too, and rejuvenate for the next year. As I said, there is 34 series already in 2026 that are on the Australian poker schedule. So check out that. All right. With that, we'll catch you next time. See you guys.
See you guys.
Take care.